Good morning or good afternoon or good evening, depending on what time you're tuning in. Welcome to Let's Talk About It Tuesday. I'm Georgette, I'm the mom.
And I'm TJ, I'm the son.
And we both work and study in the field of psychology, and we are passionate about sharing what we know with you so that you can live your best life. So today we're going to talk about blue zones.
Which I have absolutely no idea what those are, BT dubs. Going in blind.
A blue zone are areas that researchers have identified where people live longer and healthier lives.
Why would they call it blue? There's a better color out there, I'm sure, than blue.
Oh, I don't know.
Like a green
zone?
That
was one question I wasn't prepared to answer.
What the heck? Blue zone? Funny thing is,
blue-haired old ladies,
I tried to think. Funny, I never thought about that. But the first thing as soon as you said blue zones, I either thought they were like blue zones sadness. In the day or blue zones of sadness around people.
No,
Funny enough.
They're actually areas in the world where they know that people live longer.
Well, and wrong color, y'all.
And what they did was they researched these centenarians, people over 100, and they kept track of their habits and their lifestyles to try and figure out what the secret to living a long and healthy life was. Some of the areas that are considered blue zones: Okinawa, Japan.
Of course. Freaking Mr. Miyagi, man.
Sardinia, Italy.
Okay.
Nicoya, Costa Rica.
Yeah, I bet anywhere in Costa Rica.
Icaria, Greece.
Okay.
And Loma Linda, California.
Check out the Americans coming in clutch at the end there.
Yeah. Interesting thing about the Loma Linda, California area, that's an area where there's a high percent of Adventists.
Yeah, I was going to ask
So there's one commonality that they don't share with the others, but for the most part, they all share these same habits. So the one habit is moving naturally.
Okay.
So instead of going to the gym, you'll hike a mountain or you walk to the store, you take the stairs instead of the elevator, just making your body work and not relying on mechanics. So moving naturally, great habit to get into. Living with a purpose is another good habit. The Okinawans call it Ikijie and the Nicoyans call it plan de vida.
Plan de vida.
But for both, it translates to why I wake up in the morning. Knowing your sense of purpose, they say, is worth 7 years of extra life expectancy.
Every year you should identify what is my purpose in this day. And a lot of people think it's got to be one big grandiose thing that looks good on the title of a movie. But there's a lot of different purposes as well, right? Purpose for each person in your life. A purpose for each thing that you're going to do in the day, making some type of purpose for those things that you don't want to do in the day that are going to be helpful in the long run for your family, for life, and so on and so forth. So your brain doesn't automatically come up with these purposes on its own. You have to consciously do it. And if you are not identifying it in your morning, you are you're already creating a huge disservice to yourself, because you open up 2 gifts every single morning and they are their eyes. You got to figure out why they are opening and why that gift is being opened every single morning.
Yeah, when you think about the fact that could be worth up to 7 years of life expectancy, you probably think, well, that seems like a lot for just identifying why you want to wake up in the morning. But then you have to think about people who don't really have a purpose. They're just going through the motions.
Their mind just wanders.
What motivates them to do anything good for themselves, right? So it's probably connected.
Yeah, probably it is connected. Mm-hmm. Don't downplay it. How dare you? They did studies like 50 to 80% of the time our mind is wandering. Because there's no focus, there's no focal point, there's no reason. And it shows that automatically as you go through life without this knowledge, it's much easier for you to do, kind of like we just talked about, no purpose, no reason. So you have to consciously identify what they are towards every little thing.
Downshift is the next habit. Even people in those blue zones experience stress. We know stress can lead to chronic inflammation, and it's associated with every major age-related disease. But what the world's longest living people have learned is that they need to incorporate activities that shed stress from their lives. So the Okinawans, they take a few moments each day to remember their ancestors. Adventists pray. Icarians take a nap, and Sardinians spend time with happy hour.
The regular happy hour?
Regular happy hour, like our kind of happy hour.
Oh, there we go. Okay. Cool beans.
Another habit for the Blue Zone people is they've got an 80% rule. So they eat until their stomachs are 80% full. And that 20% gap is basically the difference between losing weight or gaining weight. So basically they don't eat until they're full, like we have a habit of doing in the Western world. Most of us have a hard time understanding what satiated feels like. We're either hungry
Content.
or we're full. But most of us don't stop until we notice we're getting full already.
And both full and starving are two things that are going to create more. And you talked about earlier, chronic inflammation is going to create more stress in the body, making it much easier for stress to be concluded in the mind.
And also people in those zones, they ate their smallest meal in what we would call dinner time, and then didn't eat the rest of the day. So,
well, you don't need to eat a bunch of carbs right before you go to bed. You got to eat those earlier on in the day if you're going to do that.
Speaking of carbs and things we should be eating, Plant Slant is what they have as number 5. That is where you want to lean more towards vegetables and plant-like foods. Beans in particular are the cornerstone of most centenarians' diets. Meat, they say, especially pork, is only eaten 5 times a month.
Okay.
Yeah.
You gotta eat your vegetables. I don't like eating my vegetables. I gotta do it. That's all I gotta say.
He doesn't like to eat his vegetables. Wine at 5. So this was something that all of those people had in common, except for the Adventists who don't drink. They say drinking alcohol moderately and regularly is important. But what's really interesting about the wine is they made a point to say when you drink, you should be with friends and or with food. So it's not necessarily just the wine, but it's the experience of enjoying that time with your loved ones and enjoying a good meal together. Yeah. Belonging, that is number 7. So being involved in a faith-based community is really important. They say that attending these services 4 times a month will add 4 to 14 years of life expectancy. That's a big range, 4 to 14 years. But add another 4 years. Putting loved ones first, that is important to those people in the blue zones. Means keeping your aging parents and grandparents nearby your own home. TJ. Lowers disease and mortality rates of even the children in the home. So it's good to have that extended family with you. Belonging to the right tribe is number 9. And we talked about this in past podcasts, having small groups, even of 5 people that you're committed to for life, can add to your longevity and your happiness.
Is that all I got?
So those are the 9, the power of 9, they call it.
All right. Let me see what's going on here. Let me go back. Let's simplify this out a little bit. Move naturally. Exercise. Purpose. I think we talked about that. What are you doing this for? All the little things, all the big things. Downshift, ways to relieve stress because your mind and body are not going to do it on their own. 80% rule. What was that again? Oh, eating right. We're simplifying this down. Plant Slant, still eating right. Wine at 5. More so kind of going to that social connectedness if you add it with friends and with food. Belonging. You got to be around the right people in order to do that. Loved ones first. You got to come up with a big list of all the people in your life that you love, family, friends, and come up with acts of kindness that you can do every single day. Small things, big things, right tribe. The less genuinely authentic you are, you're going to be surrounded by the wrong tribe. The only thing that you will lose by being real is something that is fake. So you have to be your genuine, authentic self in order to do these things. And all these things, they sound so much bigger than they really are, but they're exactly what we talked about last week, right? If you're not doing some of these little things from a behavioral health standpoint, you are doing yourself a disservice and already decreasing the likelihood of you finding that self-fulfillment in the person that you really want to be. So if you're not feeling happier, what are you doing in the day? Nothing. Well, then it's going to make it that much harder. The devil is in the details, my friends.
4 out of these 9 are all related to social connectedness. And then
weird.
2 are related to how you eat.
Weird.
Yeah.
It's so hard for us to treat depression and your anxiety and working on your grief and trauma if you are not eating healthy, getting sunlight, doing some journaling and self-reflection, doing things that calm you down, going towards your purposes and achievements and goals. Because if you're not doing those 5 things, how in goodness gracious are we going to get you to self-actualization and getting through some of the grief or trauma? You're not even putting yourself in a position to feel like you deserve those things because you're not doing the behaviors that you really do deserve in your life. I'm out. Coming back.
And a lot of these, like TJ said, we talked about just last week. There's just a lot of correlation. So there's support for what we're saying. There's support for what they're saying. And these are easy things you can do for your life.
And these are things, I know. I'll do these things when I feel better. We're learning you have to do these things in order to feel better. Happiness is not a result of behaviors done. Did I say that right? Happiness is not a result of these things being done. You have to be happy in order to do these things, right? So the more that you do them, even if you're not necessarily feeling like it, the better that you are going to be in the long run. So if you're like, I don't feel like it today, then that's you saying, I'm going to push through anyways and do these things because science says they're going to make me feel better in the long run. I can't wait to feel motivation. I can't wait to feel happy because my brain is not going to produce it on its own. Maybe I can help influence it by my behaviors. Your thoughts and emotions are extremely hard to control, but your behaviors, purposeful, meaningful, make it a lot easier for you to work through a lot of those mental blocks that you've been kind of succumbing to throughout the entirety of your life.
You're going to get old anyway. Every day you live, you're adding another day to your life. You're getting older, so you might as well do it well, right? So I invite you to check out www.bluezones.com or www.bluezonesproject.com. They have some great information there. They'll go a little bit deeper into this, and we want you to live your best life. So have a great week, and we will see you next Let's Talk About It Tuesday.